Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jonny Bowden. This video is going to be a little different than some of the others I've done because I'm going to answer a question that actually came to me from a very interesting source. This was a person who's writing a book, and they were interviewing lots and lots of health professionals, people who've accomplished different things and have different points of view, and they want to know what our legacy message would be. And the way they phrased this question to me was, look, you've written 15 books. You have a master's in psychology. You're a certified life coach. You've got a PhD in holistic nutrition. You used to be a personal trainer at Equinox, and you were head of the Equinox Fitness Training Institute. You know a lot about health and people and relationships, and you've had a lot of life experience. What would you want people to know if you had one message to send to people about how to live healthy, live well, and find whatever measure of happiness is available to us on this planet? What would be your legacy message? And they asked me that question, and it caused me to really think very long and hard about what I would want to leave as my kind of legacy message. And it is this, and that's what this video is about. I call it Jonny's 5 Rules for Life. I know there's a lot of those Rules for Life books out there. Jordan Peterson wrote one, and Malcolm Gladwell talks about Malcolm's 10 Rules for Life, and there's a lot of these things going on. And why should you listen to me? For no reason whatsoever, unless I have some information that might be useful to you. So all I ask you to do is not to take this as if it's being handed down on a tablet, but rather the cumulative experience of someone who has lived out there in the trenches for a lot of years and has learned a few lessons that I would like to pass on to you about living better, living healthy, living long, and living well. Use what you can, throw the rest out. Okay, number 1. This is the most important nutrition information you will ever get. It takes precedence over everything. Diet, high carb, low fat, doesn't matter. And I'm going to give you an example of why this is so important. About 30 years ago, I got certified as a scuba diver. I took a scuba certification. And it was 8 hours of really intense classes about what happens with nitrogen and how to use the equipment and just a lot of stuff. I've forgotten all of it except one thing. And that one lesson that I remember actually would save your life if you were scuba diving. The rest you can always brush up on, but this one lesson was that important. The lesson, by the way, if you're curious of what it is don't come up fast. Okay, that's the most important thing. Well, this information I'm about to give you is like that when it comes to food. This is the most important thing you need to know. This is more important than how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat. This is the equivalent of don't come up fast. Okay, you ready? Eat real food. That's it. Real food. Food that your great-great-grandmother would have recognized as, oh, I know what to do with that. That's real food. If it comes in a package, it's suspect. There's some real food in packages, but take a double look. If you're not sure if it's real food, it's not. Stick with stuff that if you left it outside, it would spoil, stuff that you could have hunted, fished, gathered, or plucked. If you stick with real food, that is probably the most important nutrition advice you will ever get in life. Just remember that single rule: eat real food. Number 2, move. This is more important than what exercise you do. It doesn't matter what you do at the gym. I've been involved in every single thing you can think of. I don't care if it's F45, if it's CrossFit, if it's kickboxing, doesn't matter. Rock climbing, doesn't matter. The most important thing you do is to move. And we are finding out, and there's a massive amount of literature supporting this, we are finding out that what you do outside of the gym counts a lot more than what you do in the gym. That's a half hour to an hour a day. We want to know what you do the other 23 hours a day. So move, find ways to move. Walk to the water fountain, walk from the bus stop. Just find little ways to move your body constantly, or as much as possible, every single day of your life. Movement will save your life. Number 3, and this is very, very important in your relationships with people, in your relationships with yourself. Do what you say. Now, I've written a lot about this, and I'm going to give you the summary of it right now, which is this. Most of us have friends that tell us, yeah, I'll meet you at dinner 7:30 at night, but they never get there at 7:30 at night. They get there at 8:10. It's always something. There was traffic. Something happened at home. The dog ate my homework. You know the litany of excuses. And what happens with your relationship with this person? Well, they may still be your friend, but you don't really trust their word very much, right? Because when they say 7:30, they could mean anything from 8:10 on, right? And it happens that way in hundreds of other little instances. Somebody borrows money from you and says, I'll pay you back tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. And we stop trusting their word. Well, we do the same thing with ourselves. How many times have you said, I'm going to start a diet? How many times have you said, I'm going to stop smoking? How many times have you said, I'm going to wake up earlier? How many times have you said 100 different things? I'm going to exercise today. And you haven't done them. Here's what happens. We stop believing our own word. We stop believing in our own power. We stop believing that we have the ability to actually do things and make things happen that we say we will make happen. What happens if you start believing in your own word? What happens if what you say becomes law in the universe? He said it, he did it. He said it, he did it. Doing what you say, keeping your word to yourself, sends a subconscious message to your brain that you're in charge here. And that's why in almost every program I've ever done, I have a therapeutic to-do list. And what I mean by a therapeutic to-do list is we all have to-do lists, right? They're coming out of our butts. We don't necessarily do them, but we have them and go do the laundry today or whatever it is. I use the to-do list differently. I use it as a therapeutic tool to reprogram your brain to believe in yourself. So I'll have people actually sit down and write the to-do list and they'll go, drink a glass of water, and then I'll have them drink it. You know why? Because your mind is digital. It doesn't know shades of differences. It knows on or off, yes or no, win or lose. So if you say something and then you do it, that's a win. Doesn't matter if it's a big deal. Doesn't matter if it's just picking up a pencil. You're learning, you're programming your mind to actually believe that what you say matters. And what you do reflects what you say. So doing what you say and saying what you do is rule number 3 and probably one of the most important things you can do, not only for your relationships with other people, but with your relationship with yourself. Number 4, it's very simple, sounds a little airy-fairy, but it's so true, and it's something that's been proven to me in my life hundreds, if not thousands of times. Be kind. Just be kind. I don't need to tell you what that means. You all know what that means. If you don't know what that means, look deeper. Be kind. Choose the kind option. It will always, always serve you well. And number 5, also one of the most important things I've ever learned in my life, and not one of the easiest things to do, although it sounds easy. Number 5 is listen. And I mean listen. You know, back in the day when we were doing transformational weekends and self-help groups and motivational speaking and all of that stuff, and I was attending lots of things like that, we used to do an exercise. It's a wonderful exercise. I don't know why people don't do it more often in these workshops. You would face your partner, and your partner would say a color, and you would say the color back. It wasn't just a repetition. The idea of the exercise was to reproduce their experience. So if they said orange, you actually thought, saw, and repeated orange. You were listening, being in the moment, hearing what they were saying, and reproducing that experience. Now, obviously, that exercise isn't just about being able to repeat colors. It's about tuning in to the person who's talking to you. Listening to where they're coming from, hearing what they're feeling, hearing what they're not saying, what they communicate in the 90% of communication that isn't about words. It's well known that if you want to be thought of as the best conversationalist that ever lived, just shut up and listen and let people talk about themselves. People will go, man, that guy's he's the smartest guy in the world. Listening gets you so far. It also helps you tune in to some of the subtleties and shadings of other people's communications. So you don't just write them off because, oh, they're a never Trumper or an always Trumper or whatever it happens to be. You actually get what their experience is. And here's a little tip you want to know. It's an actual proven fact that's been shown time and time again in social psychology experiments. If you take two people who couldn't be more apart on any issue you want, politics, religion, doesn't matter, put them in a room. Ask them to list or talk to each other, better yet, about everything that they stand for and everything that they believe in. And I'm talking about two people as different as you can imagine. You know what happens? Between 80 and 90%, they agree on stuff. You got to find that space. You have to find that place where we're all human. The things that we all share, even if it doesn't look like you have anything in common with someone, if you listen carefully enough, you will find some common level of humanity. And that is the basis of relationship. So there you have it. Those are Jonny's 5 rules for life. Eat real food, move all the time, keep your word, do what you say, be kind, and listen. That may not cover every situation that you ever find yourself in the rest of your life, but I promise you, it will cover a lot of them, and it will make a huge difference in how you live, how you go through life, how you communicate with other people, your physical health, your mental health, and your well-being in general. And I wish nothing but joy and well-being for all of you over this season and every year. And I hope there's something in these 5 rules of life that applies to you or that you've been able to take away and say, I could try that. That might make a difference. So again, if you like my stuff and you like what I'm saying and you like what you've been hearing, please hit the like button. Let me know that. Subscribe to the channel. Keep your questions coming in, and I'll see you next video.